All right, I think we'll get underway. Good morning to everyone and welcome to today's BGL partner webinar. My name's Brad Wilkinson and I head up the ecosystem team here at BGL. So it's my pleasure to welcome our integration partner and Platinum Regitech partner, ATOmate. So from ATOmate, we have founder and CEO, Stan Corner. Welcome, Stan. How are you doing?
Really well, Brad, and thank you for jumping in and setting this up for us.
Yeah, no worries.
It should be a great session.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. And look, we're really excited to see what you have to show us today. So before we get into all that, maybe we'll just go through some housekeeping for the webinar. So just so everyone's aware, the session will be recorded today. Also, if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A section. So we'll get through them as we go or answer some questions at the end if needs be. So yeah, look, so let's get into it. So I'm sure a lot of people know that the management of ATO documents and communication around that with clients can be quite cumbersome area to deal with. And I guess that's where ATOmate comes in. So ATOmate streamlines the workflows around documents and communication with clients. And also, I guess now, over the past X amount of months, Stan and his team with the BGL team have been building an integration to sort of, reap the rewards of the benefit of ATOmate solution with, I guess, the BGL solution. So, and I think that this integration will add great benefit for BGL users. So, look, I might hand it over to you, Stan, and to show us what you got, and yeah, let's get underway.
Fantastic. Thanks, Brad. As with all good webinars, we've got to start with a disclaimer. It's on the screen. I won't cover it off. I will be covering a wide range of topics today. Some of those will give you some suggestions around some things that you may need to look to manage, but of course this is all opinion versus advice. Anyway, so thank you to everyone for joining us today. I personally am super excited about this particular integration, more so the partnership with BGL. It's been a little while coming, but one of the reasons I'm so excited is that our journey working with BGL to create the integration that I want to talk about today has been one of the best experiences that we've had in the ecosystem. So going backwards, a little personal history, Stan Corner, CEO and founder of Business Automation Works, which is the team behind ATOmate. My background has always been business or B2B business. I don't come from an accounting background. I don't come from a software background. My background is really around growing businesses through process and automation. Very long history. I won't go back too far, but over the last 30 years, I've been lucky enough to bring a number of really brilliant teams together to create significant benefit to those people who join us. And when I talk about joining us, it's about our customers. So we are ATOmate, been running about 4 years. The real solution that is available to accounting practices today has been in market for about 2.5 years. And we're continuing, as you'll see today, to bring this product through to maturity with further integrations. We're nearing 1,000 practices. I'm assuming that a lot of the people on the call today are existing BGL users, and a far majority is probably ATOmate users. So let's jump in and talk about today's agenda. So I'm not going to read this through, but what we hope to do today is cover 2 things. The first part will be what have we created with this integration? What are our plans looking forward? And they're pretty significant. And most importantly, what this will deliver to you, the accounting practices that are using both ATOmate and BGL. Probably more importantly, what's that going to deliver to your clients? So let's jump in and get going. I mentioned earlier, I am personally very excited about this particular partnership and integration. This statement sums it up. I think what we're going to share today is the start of something really powerful for the accounting industry in Australia. Lots and lots of opportunity to continue to improve. But let's jump in and talk about what we've actually done or what we're working on with BGL. So we're working on 2 integrations. The first one is with Simple Fund. This is at imminent release. We have been working, as Brad talked about, we've been working together for some time to deliver this particular integration. The first set of features we'll cover today. Our integration with CAS 360, this is mega. We have been working for some time with the ATO to deliver an outcome that will help you, the accounting practices, manage communication preferences via automation. CAS 360 is going to allow us to do, or the integration with CAS 360 is going to allow us to do this seamlessly with about 98% automation. It is mega. So I can't talk too much about that today. I'm not going to cover it other than to give you a bit of a hint at what's coming. So let's jump in and talk about how BGL fits into ATOmate and vice versa. For those practices that are already using ATOmate, there will be a bit of reflection here because we do need to cater to those practices that may not be currently using ATOmate. So the first thing, I want to give a quick overview of what ATOmate does for an accounting firm. So when you look at the image on the screen, it talks about all the steps that we undertake. Brad inferred this. Managing ATO documents for an accounting firm can be cumbersome. And in fact, it can either be very time-consuming by managing it or not managing it and allowing your clients to manage it can be even more challenging because what actually happens there is then you've got, I'll call it the friction or rub between you and your clients about what the ATO may or may not be doing. So sorry, getting ahead of myself here a bit. So what we talk about here is fast, simple, secure. The fast is all about you, the accounting practice, and your time. The simple is about creating a simple user experience for your clients. So not overcomplicating and ensuring that your communication is really clear and simple for your clients. Security, important to everyone. The secure part of this is we're certified, secure and compliant. I'll cover a fair amount of that. So fast, simple, secure is what we promise to deliver. This is the reason most accounting practices come to us. And that is because the ATO keep making changes to the way that they are delivering ATO documents. Is it confusing? Yes. Is it challenging? 100%. It's not only challenging for you, the accounting practices or accounting professionals, it's challenging for your clients. So what does ATOmate do? We actually solve this problem of confusion. How? Well, we titled this webinar Integration, and in fact, what ATOmate or BAW has done is we've built an integration platform. One of our most important integrations is directly with ATO, so the tax office. Why is this so critical? Well, there's a few things. The first one is it takes out that confusion of what documents do we have, what documents don't I have. So overnight, every night, we automatically capture all of those documents that the ATO has created for your clients. I have to stress here, when we say automation, we mean automation. What do you need to do? Absolutely zero. It all happens in the wee small hours. So from there, again, in the wee small hours, we've captured those documents, we've identified the document type and the client, and then we've named those documents for you. So how have we named the document? Well, that's a pretty simple answer. During implementation, Brad, if we were implementing for you, we'd simply say, hey, Brad, how do you want to name these documents? You'd share that with us, and that's exactly what we do. So we provide a consistent outcome pre and post implementation.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds easy.
That's the key, right? Fast, simple.
Yeah.
So we integrate with all of the practice management systems. So they're all on the screen. So regardless of what you're using for your practice management and tax lodgement, we automatically integrate with those systems. Why do we do that? Well, this is about capturing the additional information that's not available from the ATO. Let me give you some examples. What sort of entity is this? Is it a trust, an individual? And importantly today, is it a super fund? The other things we capture is contact details: first name, last name, salutation. Here's my first dad joke of the webinar. So salutation's really important. I don't know about you, Brad, but I'm best known as Stan. The only time I get Stanley is when I'm in deep, deep trouble with my mother. If she was on this call today, she'd be saying that's most of the time. So I prefer to be known as Stan, not Stanley. So we capture that to ensure that it is a client experience that's tailored to your client.
Yeah, I'm the same with Brad, but for some reason I've written Bradley here on my on my
Yes.
little card. But yeah,
I
prefer Brad
was
as well.
beginning to worry that in fact you didn't like Brad and you like Bradley, and I'm shortening everything up as I tend to do.
No, I do prefer Brad.
Excellent. So really importantly, the direct integration also captures the estimate for tax return. So when you lodge a return for an individual with zero, for instance, we're automatically capturing that estimate for the return, so we can compare the estimate against the outcome the ATO has provided. Now, you're probably, if you're not using ATOmate, you're doing that manually today. So we take out that manual step. So, and this is the first thing that we're doing with our integration with BGL. Currently, if you're an ATOmate user and you're lodging your tax returns for your super funds through BGL, while we can capture the entity data and the contact details from, say, Xero, we cannot capture the estimate for a tax return. Therefore, we can't compare this. So the imminent release will mean that that data will come into ATOmate. So not only will we be capturing the client details from Xero, for instance, we'll also be capturing that from Simple Fund 360. Seems like a fairly simple step to start with, but it just takes out one more step in the process. So as you can see here, we capture the information from the practice management system, information from BGL. We bring that into ATOmate. I'll talk about how we create the client communication, and then we file into the document management. So as I keep saying, this is the first step in a really exciting partnership and integration. All righty. So one of the things that is very unique to ATOmate is our ability to remove tax file numbers. So this is really critical. As we all know, it is imperative that as an accounting practice, tax professionals, you're protecting your client's TFN. There are a number of obligations that as a tax professional you have, and it's all covered under the Privacy TFN Rule 215. There is a little bit down the bottom of this screen that if you want to go look that up, you know, if you have trouble sleeping, it's a really good read. But in essence, what this means is your obligations are to protect the TFN, take all reasonable steps, in fact. So our recommendation is do not email documents with TFNs, therefore we redact them. Do not send a letter, so a document to your client via mail with a TFN, we automatically redact that. Really importantly, this is probably the biggest piece of compliance for an accounting firm. You should not store TFNs in any locations where it's not required that you do so. If you look at the legislation and the advice from the Tax Practitioners Board, what they're suggesting is you only need the TFN in your practice management system for the purposes of matching clients. So we automatically redact all TFNs for documents that are stored in your document management system. If I get really focused and pinpoint focused on this, your biggest risk of a TFN breach is not an email, it's not a letter, it is human error or human situation. And it's someone getting a password and getting into your document management system, whatever that may be, and being able to collect thousands of documents that have got the TFN exposed. So we take care of that for you. Really important part of what ATOmate does to help you meet your obligations. Let's go and talk about the client. So it's super important that in this situation, because the way the ATO communicates, it is confusing both for you and your client. So when we collect the documents, We've done all the cross-checking, etc. We've checked the estimate against return value, including now the estimate out of BGL for a super fund. We then automatically create the client communication for you so you don't need to. There's a couple of really important points here. Is these emails, we have a unique email communication template for each one of the more than 250 different documents the ATO can create for your clients. Why is this so important? Well, we automatically insert all of the information into these templates, communications for you. Why is that so important? It's designed specifically to ensure that everything that you need to advise your clients, everything you want to tell them, and everything you want them to do is contained in the body of the email. The example here is this is a notice of assessment refund. We've checked the estimate and it matches within the tolerance that we've set. In this case, it's a refund, so we've inserted that. We've told the client that you've checked it and the dollars will be in their bank account. If this is payable, we'd also insert the due date for payment. So everything you want the client to know, and importantly, everything you want the client to do. Again, this is about that engagement between you, the practice, and the client. The emails come from your practice, from your domain. So it's not coming from a third party. So very, very important in today's world where everyone is reasonably touchy about email from a security perspective. We attach the ATO document as a simple PDF. TFNs have been removed. This is really important in that simple statement. It's about making it easy for your client to read the email, understand what they need to do, open the document, read the document without the impediment of things like portals and possibly PIN codes, etc. So really importantly, now we give you all these templates as part of the ATOmate package. We do allow you to customize those at will. So what happens from here? So we've created the communication, we've done all the cross-checking. We then push the documents and communications into a dashboard, allowing you, the practice, your admin people, or whoever you determine, to take a quick look and then send these documents off to your client. So really simple dashboard setup, looks a bit and feels a bit like email. So what we've got going on here is down the left-hand side is a list of all the communications that we've created for your clients for the documents, overnight. In the center of the screen, it shows you who the client is, the type of document, the body of the email, etc. Now, you can edit to your heart's content here. Everything with a pen or pencil allows you to further personalize the communication. To the right-hand side is an image of the ATO document. You can open that so you can view it and read it. Then you're simply going to make a decision, top right-hand corner, email it to the client, post it to the client, so snail mail, or in some cases, you won't want to send this to the client at all, and you'll simply file it or archive it. Now, when you select email or post, of course, we also file documents into your document management system. I'll cover that as we go forward. One of the super important things is, in this world today, is keeping this really simple for you guys and fast and effective. So we've done all the hard work. In most cases, it's simply a matter of selecting how you want to communicate with the client. Now, there are practice rules that can allow you to auto-archive some documents with no need for human intervention, auto-send documents directly to a client with no need for human intervention at all. A refund for an NOA is a good example where that might get used. Additional functionality, you can add down the bottom of the screen, you can add additional documents to the communication. So that's a really simple process. You can add file notes. This is awesome. So here's an example of where this gets used. Brad, you're an admin person in an accounting firm. Now, you are a spectacular admin support person. In this scenario, I'm going to play the role of the partner. So, Brad, what's happened is you've got a penalty notice drop in for $50. Now, the reason this penalty notice has been issued is because you might have filed the return a little late. So, of course, you're not going to send this to the client asking them to pay it. You're going to call the ATO and have that remitted, aren't you?
Yep, of course.
100%, really easy. So, really importantly, though, if this client had a MyGov account, and most do, not that they go look at that very often, but let's say they did in 6 or 8 months. When they find that penalty notice, they're probably going to call you up, Brad, and go, what in the hell is going on? So they're probably not going to call you, though. They're going to call me, the accountant or the partner.
Yep.
So when you've had this remitted, you're going to add a file note to add the notes for the work you've undertaken, and then probably the ATO reference number. So when I get the call from the client, I simply go off to the document management system. I look up the client, I find this document, and what I find is a file note telling me that Brad has actually had this remitted some months ago. So this is about that client centricity. It allows me then, the accountant, to say, hey, Mary, you're right, you did get a penalty, but Brad, our super admin person, took care of that months ago. It's been remitted. No further action required. Simple, fast, and easy.
Great.
Really awesome. Now, talking about this interaction. So, Brad, what would your reaction be if you're that super admin person and you received a penalty notice for $5 million?
I'll be quite shocked.
Yep, and a little concerned.
Very.
Yep. You probably also determine that as an admin person, this is above your pay grade, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Excellent. So what you do is you click this little button down the bottom here called Escalate, and you choose me out of the list on the left-hand side. You'd add some notes, something like, hi, Stan. You know how I asked for that pay rise last month and you said no? Well, here's a reason you should have given it to me. Here's a $5 million penalty. Now, the purpose of this in real terms is you can digitally keep this within the platform. You're going to escalate it to me. And when you do, I get a notice via an email telling me that you've escalated this document to me, plus a link. Now, when I hit that link, it will take me to my personal yet private queue for documents that have been escalated for my attention. Now, as a partner or accountant, I can do a few things here. I could push it back to Brad and say, hey, Brad, you need to deal with this with some instructions, or I can deal with it myself, edit the body of the email. Maybe I've already discussed this penalty with the client. They know they've got to pay it. They've got the cash. A bit unlikely, but hey, we can wish. And then make that decision to email, post to the client, etc. And the task is done. Again, importantly, when we file into the document management system, we actually save or file all of the notes that were made in this process and the activity. So Brad to stand back to Brad, etc. So that, again, there's a full historical record that forms part of the audit trail. So this has got multiple uses. It can be used as an approval process, but primarily this is about, in a lot of ways, at keeping practices, at keeping fee earners doing fee earner work and allowing others to manage some of those tasks. All right, I've talked a fair bit about document management. I haven't really talked about it at all. So again, that integration term comes up. So we have a direct integration with all of the popular document management systems that are available and in use via accounting practices. You can see them all on the screen. You know, if we add to this, we've also integrate with Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, and many others, but these are the most popular. What do we actually file? Well, let's talk about that. We file two documents. The first document is the native ATO document, so the NOA, SOA, whatever it happens to be. The only changes we've made to that is we've named the document exactly how Brad asked us to name it right at the start of the journey. And then secondly, excuse me, we've removed the TFNs. This is critical to that meeting the compliance piece that we talked about, not storing TFNs where it's not required. Then the next thing that's done here is we file a second PDF. This is the communication audit trail. It includes copy of the ATO document, copy of the email, any file notes, escalation activity. When did ATOmate capture the document? Importantly, what channel the ATO is using to communicate. So it's MyGov. If you go looking for this because the client's told you or called you up, you'll know that they could have seen this in their MyGov, etc. It also includes who touched the documents through the practice, how and when it was processed, how and when it was communicated to the client, and who approved it to be sent. So 2 documents into the document management system. This is really the go-to. Most of these integrations, I say most, it does vary a little bit, it's live real time. The second you push post, email, or archive, those two documents are stored into document management. Alrighty, so that's a quick, fast wrap up of what we do. There's loads more to this discussion. Let's move on to what does it mean to you and your team? Well, if we sum this up, we talk about the fast here. This is really about freeing up you and your team to focus on tasks that are more importantly, but just as importantly, it frees your team from doing tedious, monotonous, boring, repetitive tasks. So, and I think this is really important, not only just for the speed, but this is also really important for team retention. You know, if you put someone in front of a MFD or whatever it is and scanning documents and creating emails all day, that's not particularly engaging. So, means a happy team, we hope. So, quick sum up, we've reduced the time spent on processing ATO documents. Our claim to fame is by more than 90%. So you can reduce that time by 90%. It certainly improves the internal communication process. You're fully informed. We capture and store every document into the document management system. It removes those uncomfortable calls where Brad's called me up and said, "Hey Stan, I've got this document from the ATO. It arrived by mail, or possibly I found it in my MyGov. What do I need to do?" And Brad's first response is, "Well, how do I cover this? Because I've not seen the document, I don't know. And in fact, I don't have access to the document." We solved that issue. So Brad, what you do, you'd very quickly jump into your document management system. Say it's FYI, you'd find Stan Corner. "Hey Stan, what document are you talking about?" "Oh, it's a penalty." "Great, excellent. It's already been dealt with," or whatever. So really important.
Nice and
It also means no missing ATO documents. So I'm pretty certain everyone on this call today has experienced the issue of your clients not paying their PAYG installments. And the reason they haven't paid them is because they didn't receive the PAYG installment notice. The ATO has really made this quite challenging. We solved that issue. When the ATO changes your client to digital for PAYG installment, that document is not available to your client. It's only available to you as a practice. If you don't capture it and send it to your client, they don't get it, therefore they don't pay it, and then you suffer the pain of receiving the penalty notices. So we resolved that issue. PAYG installment notices, problem solved. And of course, removing those difficult, uncomfortable conversations without doubt improves your relationship with your client. It means every conversation is a proactive, productive versus a trying to resolve a backward issue. I will add in, I've never had an accounting practice tell me yet when they tell their client that the issue with a PAYG or any other document is a problem at the ATO where the client believes them. It sounds like an excuse. While it's not, that's the way the client will perceive it. So we solved that issue. As I've pretty much summed up, more time for proactive conversations with your clients, and importantly, grow your client base, grow your revenue. So spend time on things that grow versus things that have just got to be done. Okay. Okay, what does it mean to your clients? Well, when we first started building ATOmate, we did a lot of work to understand the client requirement, not just the requirement of the practice. That's why we built ATOmate the way we have, predominantly email communication, removing the TFN, keeping it simple, no PIN codes, no portals, etc. required. So really importantly, what does it mean to your client? Well, your clients are informed because you have the capability of collecting all documents and passing them on. They hear it from you first. This is really important. So if you're waiting for the ATO paper mail to arrive and then you're processing it and then sending it out, regardless of how you're sending it, if it's a payable, the due date for payment is often passed before you can get it to them. ATOmate means we collect the documents that are created today. They're in the dashboard for you first thing in the morning. Best practice says that you send it to them in the morning. They're fully informed. They hear it from you first rather than from someone else. And the rest is pretty straightforward. Stronger client relationships through personalized communication. Email from your domain, the body of the email, everything you want the client to know and or do. So we know without any doubt that the strength of your client relationship is critical to the continued growth and revenue performance of your practice. And so is this. Security is important to everyone, right? In today's world, never been more importantly. So let's talk about our security, which is the last piece of that fast, simple, secure. So we are an approved ATO digital service provider with an integration. I've no doubt that everyone on this call would understand that the ATO does not take an integration too lightly. The level of scrutiny and audit that we undertake every year with the ATO to provide this service is extreme, to say the least. 27001 certification, so we are 27001 certified. What does this mean? What it means is that we have the highest level of security, but most importantly, the processes to ensure that we deliver those security protocols. We, just like BGL, are certified 27001, and it's a really important part of what's happening here. Email communication, a lot of noise around email communications not being secure. All communications that are sent from ATOmate or by ATOmate on your behalf to your clients are fully encrypted endpoint to endpoint. If a bad actor, I used to say Russia, but I'm not going to say that anymore. If a bad actor picked up an email that was being sent to your client, it's encrypted, that it is not, they are not able to open that email. So the highest level of security, super important to everyone. I'm almost going to wrap up, and I'm going to wrap with this statement. And it's your clients and your team will love you for implementing ATOmate. The feedback that we get from practices that have completed the implementation in this journey is truly amazing. It makes my heart sing, in that their team love it, but their clients love it and appreciate it. It's very interesting. I've had some associates, people that I know through the journey, ask me what we're doing nowadays, and when I share it with them, they've actually gone to their accounting practice and said, you need to implement ATOmate. So it's very interesting that this comes from all sorts of directions. From a client perspective, though, you really want them to be fully informed so that they meet their obligations. I guess we're on the wrap up home straight. So super excited to be joining BGL at the Reg Tech events. I did mention earlier, anyone who saw the socials, I'm actually presenting today from my room up in the snow. We need to get Regitech out of August, but I'm giving up quite an amount of skiing to attend, but I'm super excited. I can't wait to get out there and work with the BGL team and meet everyone who's attending. I'm super excited. Absolutely. So if you're at the event, please jump up, jump in and say hello. Super excited to meet you at the live event. Yeah. Of course, if you're not going to the event, here's some contact details that you can jump on, grab a screenshot, and away we go.
Look, that's a great presentation today, Sam. We really appreciate everything you've shown us today. I think it's been great working with you and the team over the last few months, and as you said, we've got a lot to do going forward as well. We'll keep building the integration. So it's been a pleasure today.
Yeah, look, thanks, Brad. As I've suggested, we're super excited about being part of RegTech. We love what you guys do, and probably, which I didn't mention earlier, a bit remiss of me, what we love is the culture of BGL. It aligns really nicely with the way that we think and operate. But it's probably the reason why that statement right at the front is this has been one of the really one of the greatest or best experiences we have with an integration partner to get to this point. Easy to work with, really great communication, but that's really part of the way BGL's culture is built, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful you saying that as well. Thanks a lot, Stan. It's been great working with you as well.
Yep, fantastic. Thank you everyone for attending. I look forward to meeting you in real live time in whatever state we happen to be in at the time. So thank you for your time. Jump in. I'll leave this screen open for a little bit if we could, Brad. I'll go to silent so that anyone who wants to capture the QR code will take you directly to our booking page. You can go to our website, or if you email, if you just want to have a quick chat with myself, email ATOmate at Team BAW, and they'll send you a calendar link to jump in and book a time directly into my calendar. And I'll look forward to chatting. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.